Okay, this is the reference picture I'll be using today. I'm using cheap, 50 cents a bottle Walmart acrylic paints. These are the brushes I'll use today, and let's get started. I started by blocking in the general shape, using the darkest hues in the background. I don't think I'd consider myself a good painter or artist, but I do enjoy it. This is my 5th attempt at painting, so we'll see how it turns out. Now it's time to start filling in the oranges and yellows. I start with a little too bright a color orange. Once I tested a spot on the canvas, I decided I need it to be a little darker, so it's easy to just add a little black to darken up the shade. Now with the painting basically blocked in, I'll start painting the darker trunks and larger branches of trees using an angled brush. You could use a fan brush or a round brush or whatever you feel comfortable with. Now I'm going to start filling in the smaller detailed branches. I'm using a rigger brush. And what I figured out is that you need to really water down your paint to make it very thin to make the fine lines. I've changed the color of the branches a few times using lighter and darker shades. And if you're thinking, oh my goodness, he is putting a ton of branches in there, you're right. But as we fill in the detail of the leaves on the trees, a lot of this will get covered up. Now using the corner of the fan brush, I'll start blotting in the darker leaves. Gradually move to lighter colored leaves as you move forward. Bob Ross likes to say happy little accidents, and you'll have lots of them. If you do put a little too dark a color like I did here, you can just blot it off or cover it. The nice thing about acrylic is it dries fast and it's easy to coat. For bark effects and other textures, I take a filbert brush and I just lightly dab the painting, very softly, just to put the tips of the bristles of the brush against the canvas. Here I notice some green leaves hiding out in the background that I missed initially. So again, I'm using just the tips of the bristles of a filbert brush to dab in some small leaves. The backlit area in the gaps in the trees is just still blank canvas. So I added a small amount of yellow to some white, and I'm filling in that area with just a faint yellowish color. I'm not ashamed to admit that sometimes I revert back to kindergarten finger painting style and use my finger as a blending tool. Unlike oil paint, acrylic dries very quickly, so when you want to blend acrylic paint, you need to do it quickly while the paint is still wet. Using a fan brush, pull lightly down from the top toward the bottom, only letting some of the bristles touch to create the waterfall effect. I'm continuing to fill in detail of the shadows and the highlights with a liner brush. I got a little ahead of myself, but since I was down in that area and almost done with that section, I signed it early. To create the glow of the sunlit area coming through the trees, put some white paint on very lightly, and then take a dry brush and spread it out. I stepped back and took a look and decided there wasn't quite enough red in some of the trees as there was in the reference photo. So I'm going to fill in some of those trees with some darker red colors. Well, I think that does it. Let's call this one done. Thanks for watching.